Welcome to Caldwell County Today. I'm Paige Counts, Public Information Officer for Caldwell County. Joining me today is Kimberly Setzer with AMOREM. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You are here to talk about something that I think is one of the best programs AMOREM offers. And I may be a little biased, but it's your grief camp.
Absolutely. Good morning, Children's Grief Camp.
Tell us a little bit about the grief camp.
Okay. Camp is a one-day event that we host annually. We have not been able to offer recently due to COVID, so we're so excited to be able to bring it back. But it's a day where children ages 6 to 12 get together. We have fun. We do education about grief. We talk a lot about grief. But our biggest goal is to show children that they're not alone in grief. So it's really important for children to be exposed to other grievers and to be able to just share in their loss, talk about their loss in a very safe space. We have fun, we have games, we have food, we have grief processing activities, and we just have a time of fellowship together to bring this important topic to the table.
Who can attend grief camp?
Grief camp is open to anybody in our community. It's for children, specifically ages 6 to 12, who've had a recent loss. It can be a family member, a close friend, and that they're in need of some grief support. The loss does not have to be connected to hospice, so it could be anybody in our community.
And how much does grief camp cost?
Grief camp is covered by AMOREM, and in the Caldwell service area, we have a donor through Greer McElvain Funeral Home.
So, free to children?
Correct.
And you're looking for children who have experienced a loss?
Yes, the death of a loved one.
Death of a loved one. And this year, you're doing not one, but 30 camps.
Correct.
Explain to us about that.
Okay, so AMOREM is a regional nonprofit hospice provider, and so we are going to host camp in our Caldwell service area. It'll be on May 27th at our Hudson location. We'll also have a grief camp event in our Valdese area and our High Country area as well.
So if you have loved ones in Valdese or in Burke County or the High Country, they can also connect with the camp.
Absolutely.
Okay, camp starts at what time? Because I'm guessing these are probably Saturdays.
They are Saturdays. Camp starts at 9. We'll do registration. And then we'll have time with our campers. It'll end at 3, and from 2 to 3, we will have parents or guardians come a little early, and we'll have a session just with parents and guardians to talk about grief and loss, specifically ways to support grieving children, how to help them, and what other services that we offer.
How have you seen grief camp impact campers in the past?
Grief camp for me is probably one of my favorite events that we do. I initially started out working in grief camp as a hospice volunteer, so it's such a joy to be able to be a part of that. I have really seen the positive outcomes be children are better able to talk about their loss. Children are able to not only express information or their feelings surrounding the loss at camp, but to be able to do that afterwards. So we do, of course, have an evaluation of camp, and we send that out a couple of weeks after camp to be able to collect that information. What we have seen also is that it helps not just the child, but the whole family. So sometimes those children will initiate the conversations that many family members need to have. It helps change the conversation of grief within a family. It makes it acceptable to talk about grief as a family. And normally what we find is that many members of a family were struggling with grief. They just didn't know how to express that or what to say. We do give children information to take home with them so they're able to continue to process their loss. So there are very positive outcomes for that. We also see children be more open to long-term counseling or grief counseling specifically. We also see their parents and families be more open to that. So if they can come for one day and see a positive impact, it reiterates to them the importance of long-term support.
Is space limited?
We're unsure at this time.
No, that's a tough question.
Yeah, so we definitely would be able to take 30 children, and if we have more than that register, then we'll reevaluate. So we know that we have capacity for 30, but we can always hopefully add staff and volunteers to accommodate for more children. We would love to have that problem.
How do people register? Let's talk about getting to that problem. How do people register?
So to register, you can first of all look at the information about camp on our website, amoremsupport.org. But you're always welcome to call our office, ask for grief services. We can fill out a registration form on your behalf. We can mail one to you. You can swing by our office and pick one up. So just reach out to us and we'll get you the information for registration.
And that's great. And there's no cost to it. It's a good day for kids. Tell us the date for the Caldwell.
Caldwell is May 27th. It'll be from 9 to 3.
9 to 3. What else about Grief Camp? I feel like we're just leaving so much out because it is a really good day.
One of the most interesting things for me to observe as the director and leader of camp is we also have a volunteer program.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we implemented a few years ago was that our volunteers volunteer at Grief Camp, and they become what we call peer mentors. So a lot of our volunteers, of course, have had personal losses of their own. And so they have been through grief themselves. They've been through our volunteer training program. And so they really connect well with the children. The children are drawn to teens. And so they've been very, very important in our camp and the success of camp in the past. And so it's really awesome to be able to see a child connect with a teen or a teen connect with a small group of children. And so the teens actually are assigned to the children, and they stick with that child or that small group of children that whole day. And so to be able to see those people connect, it also helps the teen to know that there's purpose for them and that their experience helps cultivate change and healing for a younger child. That's
an awesome connection. And kids this age do look up to their teenage friends.
Absolutely.
So a good time, and imagine the teens are a listening ear for the children.
Absolutely.
So very good combination. Kimberly, is there anything else we need to cover?
Well, we did want to make one announcement. We have recently received some grant funding, and we are looking to start a children's grief support group and a teens grief support group. So if you have a child or a teen or a set of siblings that will or will not be able to attend grief camp, if there's a conflict on that day, know that there's other resources and that there's some new things on the horizon for us. We'll be sharing that information closer to time. We're kind of still in the organizing and creating curriculum and that sort of thing. So we're hoping to start those support groups later in the year, probably over the summer is our goal. So there, we do see the need. We're very well aware of the need in our community to better support children and teens specifically that are grieving. We've seen a huge influx in needs with children and teens, especially during COVID. And so we're trying to respond to that with some things that will be helpful, but very intentional to capture those age groups. So we will, during our support groups, we will separate children and teens because they process grief differently. They have different understandings of grief as well. And so that's also on the horizon. So we're looking forward to that as well.
A lot of support, a lot of needed support for children and teens because they do grieve differently than adults.
Absolutely.
And so that's very positive. And just in general, talk about AMOREM's grief support because there's an amazing service there that I don't feel a lot of people know about.
Right. So we have, AMOREM has a grief support services program, and we offer 13 months of support to hospice families, but we also have a community bereavement support program. And so what we do in both of those programs is we do a lot of one-on-one support. We do a lot of education about grief and loss. We are very thankful that we've been able to bring back our grief support groups and that we're meeting in person with those. We are still meeting in smaller groups just to be cognizant. It's cold and flu season still. We're kind of coming out of that a little bit. We still need to be considerate of COVID. And so we're trying to be really strategic with it, but we are really happy to be able to meet back with groups. So anytime that you have a grief support need, you can look on our website for that information. You're always welcome to call our office. But we try to tailor grief support needs to the individual's needs. So some people need one-on-one, some people prefer a group setting, some people do both. And it's very flexible, very fluid. We know that grief is not linear. It doesn't come in a neat little package. And so we try to just go where our clients are. And if that ebbs and flows, then we're going to try to do that with you.
Again, another awesome service provided by AMOREM. Kimberly, thank you for being here today and talking with us, and I hope you'll come back and share with us about your grief support groups.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching Caldwell County Today.